What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Expathiosis, aka Optic Waffle, aka Aaron, bringing you my very first YouTube video. You know I had to bring out the content for the very first season of TPL, aka Tavern Premier League, which is a new Wi-Fi Pokemon Draft League that was kind of spur of the moment, just came, and I'm super excited about that. I had the opportunity of joining, so I went for it, and I'm super stoked. I felt like I had a pretty good draft. I didn't really have much of a plan going in, but I think it turned out pretty well. So you guys will have to let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. So without further ado, we're going to move straight into the very first pick of the draft, which is Ogerpon Cornerstone. So initially, I heard of this Ogerpon having Ivy Cudgel, which is 100 base power, 100% accurate move specific to Ogerpon, and in this form it's actually rock, and I thought having an actual 100% accurate rock move would be super dope. Don't have to mess with Stone Edge, don't have to mess with Rock Slide, so I was super stoked about that. And it's got a pretty solid typing, a really nice ability in Sturdy, which makes it a pretty good lead. You set up some spikes, you can U-turn out, you can spike your shield, I think you get taunt, encore, just a ton of different stuff. A good attack stat, a good speed stat, and I think it's got some pretty nice coverage. So I thought no matter what, this would be a really solid Pokemon to draft, no matter what I go for after this. And yeah, that's kind of my explanation for this pick. So moving on into my second pick, I went for Hisuian Gudra, which I've always really liked as a Pokemon. It's got an amazing Steel Dragon typing, which helps like Buko's defensively. This thing can just eat hits. Great defense stat, great special defense stat. It can kind of eat a hit. It can dish out really nice hits with a nice special attack stat of 110. It's got some solid coverage, really nice abilities, just like a super solid Pokemon that I thought would be good to pick. And I noticed that with my first round and my second round, I had a Steel type and a Rock type, and I thought, why not go for maybe a little bit of a Sand team? So I picked up a Bowdon, and which gets Sandstream, which just automatically sets up the sand when it switches in. I can put a Smooth Rock on it, make it last for 8 turns. This thing is a pretty nice defensive wall. It's got a nice attack stat. It gets like Roar, Stealth Rocks, it gets like Slack Off, just a bunch of different, just nice stuff to have for a defensive Pokemon like this. Got to be kind of careful about something like a Grass Knot, but we'll have to look out for that. So after I picked up this Pokemon, I started leaning into the idea of a Sand team. So I went for my very first Terra Captain in Sandslash, which has the ability Sand Rush, which doubles its speed, even though it doesn't look super great in its base stat, it doubles its speed in the sand. So it kind of turns it into a nice little threat, especially with Terraring, which I have Ground, Fairy, and Ice, which pretty much lets me hit like everything. A pretty nice attack stat, great defensive stat. I mean, this also gets like Rapid Spin. It's just like a super solid Pokemon, only 4 points. So I went for that. And then I also pick up another Terra Captain in the fifth round, which was Farigiraf, which I've actually used in, I think a couple seasons ago in one of my Showdown leagues, and I loved this thing so much. And it has so much potential. It was only 5 points, so I was like, I can make this thing a Terra Captain. It's got 3 really viable abilities. Its HP stat makes it actually a pretty decently bulky Pokemon. It's got a nice special attack stat, and actually can kind of be used as a physical attacker every once in a while if you want to go for that. It gets like Earthquake. I can Terra Water and have Sap Sipper, which makes me only weak to Electric. I can Terra out of my only weakness of Dark into like a Fairy type, go for like an Agility with Armor Tail. I mean, this thing's got so much potential. Super excited to use it, especially now as a Terra Captain, only 5 points. So for your Terra Captains, you can only have up to 15 points worth. So with Sandslash and Farigiraf, I had 9. So I had a chance to pick up to a 6-point Pokemon to use as a Terra Captain. So that's what I did. And I went for Vikavolt. This thing has an awesome ability of Levitate, so it really kind of lets me work with these Terra types of Electric, Steel, and Rock, so I can't get hit by those ground types. It's got a super stellar special attack of 145. It gets Volt Switch is just awesome, and then it gets Sticky Webs, it gets some pretty nice other special attacks. I think this thing's going to be pretty hard to take down. I can try to maybe lead it, Terra right away, get up some sticky webs for the team, especially just because my team's not super fast at the moment, or at least out of these picks so far. So that kind of helps with that. Gives me just like another route to take my team. So I'm super stoked about picking up Vikavolt. I think this thing's going to go crazy. So for my 7th pick of the draft, I pick up Blastoise. I noticed I was kind of weak to ice and water overall, so I wanted something that was maybe like a resistance to that, and then it has good both special defense and defense. Decent attacks, or attack stat and special attack stat. You can kind of use it in a lot of different ways. It also gets like Rapid Spin. It's kind of more of like a support Pokemon. I mean, you could also use like Shell Smash on it, maybe throw a White Herb on it. Kind of can get some pretty cool like torrent stuff going if you get low and you're 1/4 or lower HP, but not super great abilities, but I mean they can be used, and a decent speed stat. I don't know, I thought this was just like an all-around good Pokemon. You can do a lot of different things with it, so went for that. Only 10 points, so not too bad. But with my 8th pick of the draft, I noticed I kind of was lacking some speed and maybe a little bit on the like offensive, especially and physically, maybe a little bit lacking. And so I went for Azelf, which is only 12 points. Not too bad. This thing can be a physical, like I said, physical attacker. It can be a special attacker. It's got super nice support options, and then another Levitate Pokemon helps even more, especially with my upcoming draft, where my upcoming couple picks, which actually are weak to ground, one of them being quad. So I think it was really nice to be able to get another Levitate Pokemon. Kind of lets me just work with my team a bunch of different ways. You kind of have to think about whether you're going to go for it, or like an Earthquake or something. Just with these 2 Levitate Pokemon, makes it super nice, helps out my team. So my 9th pick of the draft, leaning into this sand idea, I felt like I really needed some like super scary sand threat. So I went for Excadrill. Really nice typing and Steel Ground. This thing's got a really nice attack stat, good HP stat, makes it decently bulky, and actually surprisingly fast. 88 base speed is quite nice, and then especially with Sand Rush, this thing is a threat. You're gonna need something to outspeed this in the sand if you wanna be able to deal with this, because this thing is gonna be one hitting a lot of stuff. So I was super stoked. This has been one of my favorite Pokemon, and what better than to fit it onto a sand team. And so now this makes, I think, my 3rd Rapid Spinner too, which I thought was super dope. Yeah, I think that just like really helps make my sand team scarier. And then moving into my 10th pick, I went for Iron Moth. I had 24 points left before I made this pick, and I went for something a little bit more expensive, Iron Moth. It's got some really nice stats in the special attack, the special defense, the speed. It helps out with kind of a lot that I was missing. It's really nice to have a fire type, and then even a grounded poison type, in case like someone were to set up toxic spikes on me. They at least have to they have to know that I have a poison type, so then I can soak it up if I were to bring it. That helps a lot. Amazing ability with Quark Drive. You can throw a booster energy on this thing. You could go booster special attack, booster speed if you put enough investment into it. Super just scary threat. This thing can just come in, dish out a lot of damage. It also gets like U-turn, so if I throw some choice specs on it, I think they're gonna switch out. I just U-turn on them, get some really nice pivoting. I thought this thing would be super dope. Never used it before, so we went for Iron Moth. And with my last pick in the draft, I only had 9 points left, so we went with Tauros. And it's the Paldea Aqua version, which is not just fighting type, but now water, which really helps with kind of that water and ice weakness that I thought I had. So that's super dope. It has Intimidate, which is just an amazing ability, and paired that with its nice defense, then this thing can really take hits. You could throw an Assault Vest, Intimidate, this thing's going to be eaten. Cudchoo is a really nice ability too. Anger Point is pretty good ability, pretty situational, but this kind of just helps with overall a fast Pokemon, scary offensive threat. I thought this thing would just kind of round out my draft pretty well. So yeah, that kind of concludes my team. I feel pretty stoked about this team. I can't wait to just like, I feel like there's so many different modes I can go with this team. and I can't wait to start prepping for other teams and put on some more content for you guys. Hopefully, the plan is I'm going to be recording live commentary with all my games, so look out for those. And I think my first week I play the Ambipom All-Stars, or coached by Alex, which his team is like super horrifying. If you haven't seen his video yet, go check that out. But yeah, that kind of concludes my whole draft analysis. Let me know how I did in the comments, like I said, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.